What up peeps, it's Phil back again with another video, and in this one we're just going to be exploring the effects section on the MPC 500. Now there's a lot of things you can do in the effects section, and I'm going to show you how to resample effects and how to kind of navigate that section and make your beats sound even better. So yeah, here are a couple tips and tricks that I have just made by experimenting, and also I'll reference some things in the manual, so you can check out the manual yourself if you want to go over it afterwards. You're more than welcome, of course. And so yeah, let's just get into it. Alright, so in this one I just have a simple loop that I made as an example. So I have all these samples right here. I took my drum sounds from Core Gadget. I just sampled in here. I have this piano loop. Wait. And I have this bass line. Okay, so basically, what I'd like to do now is make the snare hit a little bit harder. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to Mode, Effect. Then afterwards, for my effects end, you have two options, or three options I would say. Off, FX1, and FX2. Now I'm just going to go to FX1 and let's see what effects we have. So you have the grunger, EQ, compression, phase, tremolo, auto pan, reverb, and that's it for effects section 1. Now effects section 2, you have a copy, you have most of these actually. However, you have a few other effects such as chorus, flanger, delay, and reverb. Yeah. And these are only found on effects section 2. And let's say if you want to add, let's say, a grunger on the first effects section, and then for the second one use a delay, you can do that with the FX1 to FX2 setting right over here. And effects set, basically, from the manual, it says this effects set is a set of FX1, FX2, and main effects types and their settings. Each effect set can have different settings individually. You can switch the effect sets to effect field or of the effects set page in effect mode. This helps you when you have a complicated sets of effects, as it saves time having to initialize each single effect at a time. In this section, you will learn how to copy and reset the effects section. So while you have your preset effects where you can save inside this section right over here, if you keep scrolling right to the effects menu, you have copy effects. So you can copy the sets, let's say 2 to 4, or you can reset your effects. And also, I forgot to mention, there are also the master effects, and there's two master effects you can choose from. There are compressor and EQ. Okay, so right now I'd like to continue with editing my snare. So what I'm gonna do is basically use the bit grunger on effects section 1, and depth signifies how much of a bit crush you want. So the higher the number, the more bit crush the sound. See, I like that. 8. And yeah, let me just actually resample this. So I'll show you guys how to resample. You go to Mode, Record, and since I have my line in kind of from the out of my interface, if I press my snare, it'll just feed back into the device as a loop. But what you can also do is rather change the record into main, and that will allow you to resample from the device itself if you don't have this chain, let's say, going. So let's try that out. Oops. Okay, I'll do it again. And let me just put it on pad 2, and then when I go to mode, I can just normalize that. But you see, now it's a different sound. Now why does that happen? Because you still have the effect on. So let's say if you don't want it so bit crushed like this, you can just turn this one off, and now you'll have that bit crushed effect. So now when I play back the loop, you can hear the snare with the bit crush effect. See, I think that's a little bit better in my opinion. Okay, maybe let's demonstrate the EQ a bit. This is super bass heavy, and there's quite a bit of bass in this sample over here, so let me just EQ that a bit. See, I'm not the best at EQ, but however, let's just start off with the gain all at 0. Just to make it even. Low gain, turn that down. Okay. Let's take some low end off. I think that sounds better already. Hold on. So yeah, I actually really like that. So yeah, let's just leave that on for now. I like how the hi-hats have a little bit of low end, but not too much. But instead of using the EQ again, what I could just do is use the high pass filter. So I go to program, change this to high pass. Use the resonance. Now let's listen to it. You know what we can do, actually? So let's go to FX1 to FX2. Go to yes. FX2, turn on. Let's try out with chorus. Okay, nice. I think I'm just gonna leave that on because it sounds pretty tight. Yeah, so what's the last thing that I wanted to go over? Master compressor. I usually use this at the end of a track, just to see how it sounds all together. Oh yeah, just to go over one thing. When you're saving your files, in the manual it says like this. The MPC 500 has 2 stereo effects and 1 master effect, as we covered. To apply specific pad sound, you use 2 stereo effects, and to apply effects in the entire mix, use the master effects. Note that the effects settings will be saved with the all file, which is created when you save the data by selecting Save All Sequences and Songs. So to save your effects settings as well, you go to Mode, Save. From Save, you go Save All Sequences and Songs. So this is the place where you want to save. Your light usually is flashing at this point. However, mine doesn't work, so for the people who want to save their effects and their beats afterwards, that's how you do it. So yeah. So I hope you guys learned something from this brief video on the effects section in the MPC 500. Of course, if you have any further questions or things that you want me to cover within the MPC 500, I also have other gear as well. Just usually I talk about things that I would just figure out along the way while I'm making my music, while I'm making my beats, and then that gives me the idea for a video. I think in the next one I would cover how to do some things on the CS2X, which is a very interesting synthesizer. And if you're interested in that type of content, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like, leave a comment, help me out a lot. And yeah, with that being said, peace.